So on today's video, what we're going to do is a little bit of a tutorial. We are changing our oil in Big Betty. Some things that you need to do this job. Of course, your motor oil. So ours takes a 10W30 and we need 7 quarts of it. Now as you see, this is a 5 quart. Here's our 6 quart. And then what we have here is an oil stabilizer. So this is by Lucas. Highly suggested. And what they told me is just that it extends the engine life of your rig. And Big Betty, of course, is 25 years old, and so she needs as much engine life as she can give us. And so this will replace one of the quarts, and so that gives us 7 quarts. That's what you're going to fill up the oil, but first you got to drain the oil pan. Now to drain the oil pan, you need something to catch it because you don't want the oil just to lay on the ground. And you got to dispose of it properly. So once we catch all the oil in this just cheap little oil pan here, then we put it into our little drain container. And so we're able to pour the oil into this, and then it will store it for us. And then we can take it somewhere, not have to drive the RV with it, but we can load it up into like one of our little cars and then take it to a proper place to dump this oil. So that's important. Another thing that you need is a new filter. So every time you do an oil change like this and you dump all that oil out, you need to change out your filter. And so this is the filter that works for our rig. It's going to be different for you unless you have a Fleetwood bounder like us. And the last thing you need is you're going to need a socket set. Our drain plug takes a 9/16 socket, and that's how you're going to kind of take that plug out. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to crawl under the RV and pull the drain plug. It should be on the very back side of your oil pan. Here I go.
It's going in.
Okay, we're under the RV. The oil pan is right up under here. And then my drain plug is right here. The drains look a little different, but it'll typically look like a bolt. And so what we'll do is we'll use our 9/16 wrench and socket wrench, and we'll pull that off. Now, as soon as you start to unscrew that plug, it's going to shoot oil everywhere. And if there's still, 5 to 6 quarts of oil in there, it's going to be a big mess. So make sure you have a big enough oil pan, and make sure it's already under there when you're going to unscrew that drainage plug. Now, once all the oil has drained out, then we're going to take our oil filter off. So the oil filter is going to be on one side of the pan, and with an RV like this, a Class A, it should be pointing down perpendicular to the floor. With that, you're just going to unscrew it. They do make oil filter wrenches, which kind of help you undo that. Hopefully, you shouldn't be cranking your oil filter onto these things, but if it's your first time with the rig, someone else might have done that. But they do make those oil filter wrenches, and you can pick those up at any auto parts store. Once you have that off, there will be oil that's going to probably still start coming down, so make sure you have your pan near you. So the next thing that we're going to do is put the plug back in once it's finally done draining, and then put in the new oil filter. It's going to screw right into where the old one went. It's always nice to actually take a little bit of oil and smear it on the rim of it. That just kind of gives you a little bit of seal up there. And like I told you, you don't have to tighten it down a crazy amount to where the next person who does the oil change won't be able to get it off. Once you have the plug in, once you have the filter in, that's when we're going to add our oil stabilizer, and then the other 6 quarts of oil. And then typically what we like to do is I like to run the engine for a little while after that, just to stir that new oil throughout the engine. From there, you have changed your own oil on your RV. Now all you have to do is just make sure you get your oil into your container and then take it somewhere where you can dispose of it properly. I hope this video is useful for you guys. If it was, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, join along in our journey as we are going across the country and working as travel physical therapists and living in our RV Big Betty here full time. Until next time, see ya.